Alright guys, welcome in. Just gotta get this scene to change. Get this party started. And 3, hopefully it'll go here. Here we go. Wow, delayed reaction. Anyway guys, welcome in. You're here at the Above Ground World News Studio in FEMA Region 7. And we're going to jump into all kinds of stuff tonight. Tons of articles to get in. Tons of weather news. Weather warfare. All that stuff. Here we go. Let's jump right in. Heavy rain, strong winds causing flooding, power outages along the Oregon coast. Driving to the East Coast become an obstacle course Friday as a band of heavy rain, powerful wind gusts move through the coastal counties. You know, if they would have watched the 16-day forecast, they would have known it was coming. You know, the local meteorologists never give you a warning. The U.S. State Department issues travel warnings to anyone going to Mexico. And if you look down here, the advisory for Mexico has been upgraded to level 2, which encourages travelers to exercise increased caution. Here's some of the places you should not travel to. Colima, Guerrero. It's all for crime and kidnapping. Then you may want to reconsider travel to all these different states. I mean, tons of them. You know, everything's due to crime. But yet they want to open the borders up and let all these people come up in here. They just had a riot in Honduras, like the worst riot, killed like, you know, almost 20 people. Bunch of people injured. They want to welcome in right on in. Nuts stuff. Breaking in heavy rain across western Washington coming Saturday afternoon. Flooding throughout the region is possible into the weekend. A flood watch in parts of western Washington remain in effect till 10 p.m. Sunday. Snow levels in the Cascades will drop back to 3,500 feet. And so on. Avalanche danger in the Cascades this weekend.
Yeah, it's extremely well forecast. I've got to say, the model showed us.
Accumulations up to 24 inches. So what is causing all this rain? Well, we know what's causing it. The weather warfare is causing it. What am I talking about? Well, they're calling it a Category 4 atmospheric river heading our way. Let's see what they say it means. This coming out of Seattle. It doesn't sound quite as exciting as a polar vortex or a bomb in Genesis. In fact, we actually coined the term polar vortex years ago, and they stole it from us. They also steal the atmospheric river. But a Category 3 or 4 atmospheric river is making its way toward the Pacific Northwest at the end of this week, bringing heavy rains, potential for flooding. And they, you know, they got to say the atmospheric river is relatively a new term in public meteorological world, given when there is a long, narrow flume of tropical moisture carrying intense rainfall across the atmosphere like a river in the sky. It is the rivers in the sky. I've been talking about this for years. The weather modification companies talk about this all the time. They act like it's something new. It's not. So they call these ARs for the atmospheric river. And, you know, it's kind of like the Simpson scale for the hurricanes or the Fujita scale for the tornadoes. So they developed this 5-point scale. This was actually developed quite a few years ago. I think when it first came out, I covered that. And you can go to the meteorological glossary here and, you know, and see how they try to explain it away. And all it takes is a simple NEXRAD to steer these things, or maybe a few cloud ionizer antennas, or a few HARP arrays, scatter radars. So this new scale to characterize the strength and impacts of the atmospheric river storms. You know, perfect example of them steering the atmospheric rivers. I don't have the article up here, but if you type in Texas stole California's rain, climate viewer news, it'll come across the article where they use the technology that I'll be talking about here in a little bit to actually steer the atmospheric river away from California into Texas back in 2012. The company that did it back then was called Wxr, Blue. And here's the maximum AR category. This is what they're calling for right here. And I'm trying to close some of these out as I go. All these links are in the description. And they actually now have a site here where you can get the updates. Here was the December 17th update. Or you can just come watch us on Sunday nights when we do the 16-day forecast. I'm going to get pretty deep into the, oh man, what tab did I just close? Huh. Anyway, I closed something. I don't know if it's something I needed or not. In fact, let's get into, before I get into some of these other articles here, what are we talking about? We're talking about the rivers in the sky. We're talking about the atmospheric river up in the troposphere. Now, there's several companies that can steer this atmospheric river. You know, I talked about how they stole California's rain in 2012, brought it into Texas. All we have to do is go back to the Paradise fires. They were in, you know, months and months, maybe years of drought. And suddenly after the fire, the atmospheric river completely does a turn right into the fire zone area, washes any evidence away from all the accelerants that were rained down on that area before the fire started. We well documented all of this. Now there's companies out here that do this. Now a lot of you guys, you know, you've listened to me for a long time, but there's a lot of new people out there. So I'm going to have to play a clip of a company that steers the atmospheric rivers. It's like 5 minutes long, but I'm going to go ahead and play this clip so people can get caught up on what's really going on with the weather and with these atmospheric rivers, how they get moved around, who's steering them. I'm just going to show you one of the companies tonight, but there's so many that we document. We document what the clouds look like. We can see when they are affecting things. Now this company I'm getting ready to do the clip on, they put the fires out. There was big fires going on in Tasmania back in February. And they use this very technology to steer the rain in there and put the fires out. It's all documented. So let's go ahead and play this clip.
We can bring in the oceanic rain, and we need to be conscious it's not about delivering rain on land, it's about nurturing a rain system that can promote agriculture and protect the people involved. So in all cases we want to make sure we don't get flooding, but we can deliver timely rain in a gentle soaking manner into agricultural targets. Technology relies on a signal that we're able to generate that triggers a response from atmospheric patterns. So we're able to observe this using satellite meteorology, extensively available now to everyone who's got access to broadband internet. But we're able to utilize that signal sent in sequence to generate a incremental deviation in the flow path of these oceanic atmospheric rivers. So the source is the ocean, of course. The vapor, precipitable moisture flow is in the atmosphere. The winds drive this with the pressure systems adjusting the path of least resistance. But our technology is able to interface that and hack into it, if you like, and make some micro adjustments to allow deviations to occur in the flow pathways. And this is how we broke the drought in Australia in 2005. This is how we put out the fires of Victoria from Black Saturday in 2009. This is how we delivered rain in the desert in Saudi Arabia in 2007 and snow for the first time in history in 2004 in United Arab Emirates. There's been other projects above the radar and some under the radar, but today for the first time we're putting our hand up in front of the media to say this is available. We're going to run this project here to break the drought in the Horn of Africa. We're meeting with Cabinet, Federal Cabinet for Kenya and the Prime Minister and other parties and authorities in the region. We've met extensively with United Nations teams and agencies, and we're planning to do this in the most careful manner. Firstly, to bring some gentle rain in to give food for the food for the cattle and the livestock, so milk can be produced, so the human survivability can go up. Once that survivability's gone up, then we can look at more substantial rains that can be suitable for crop.
What is this technology?
Essentially, we're drawing oceanic rain systems that exist over the oceans into geographic targets, into our agricultural areas. The technology uses electromagnetics, so we're not interfering with the atmosphere or with the environment. We're not damaging it. We're not using chemicals fired through rockets like other technologies use. We use a very gentle but powerful technology, launching electromagnetics into the atmosphere to modify the flow of the weather system over the ocean and drawing it into a target. So to try and keep it simple, we establish some kind of link with a weather system, and once we've seen through satellite meteorology that we have that link, we're able to draw that system in incrementally towards the target, such as in this case the Horn of Africa.
Mahendra, you call this project the Global Rain Project. Why the Global Rain Project?
Well, let me just step back. Ever since the beginning of civilization, mankind has diverted rivers on earth to wherever we wanted to practice agriculture. Now we look at the atmosphere. The oceanic, 90% of the rain, more than 90% of the rain falls on the ocean. True. It's only about less than 5% on earth. So the 90% that is above the oceans, these are fundamentally atmospheric rivers. And just the way we harvested rivers on earth, we should be harvesting now with new technology the rivers above the oceans and moving them to a target area. Now, why is it global? Global because climate is changing. We see the floods that are on, the droughts that are on. So weather is being modified by human activities and by natural phenomena. And today we have developed the technology, and I'm convinced that in 30 years we will be able to confront climate change with technology with which we can modify weather patterns. It's weather modification, because climate change has two elements. It gets hotter temperature and precipitation changes. So moisture patterns change. Now imagine when we get rain, temperature goes down. So when you think of climate change, which is hotter areas, and that's the challenge we have in sub-Saharan Africa, that it will get hotter. Many areas that produce crops will not be viable. So it is a global phenomena which requires global action, and that is why we are committed to put this in the humanitarian arena to begin with. And it should be governed and utilized at the global level by the global community.
All right, so there you go, man. They want to harvest the rivers of the sky. They want to divert the rivers in the sky, just like they do when they build the dams. You know, look at the damage they do to the ecosystem by building dams. You know, look what's going on in Australia right now. These fires are engineered. They're spraying the same particulates that they are everywhere else that's making fire accelerates. That's why the fires are burning so hot and so quick. You know, and I think what's his name was talking about how it's the same things that are in sparklers. Well, it's the same things that are in chaff, military chaff. It's all the same. I mean, we've got the ingredients that are actually in the biofuel. Not only is there sprayers that are hooked to these planes, you have the toxic biofuel that's being burnt in these planes. And you can see as the years went, the aluminum amounts from the JP5 biodiesel they used to use to the JP8. You know, when they were running the jet fuel A, there was 0 aluminum. And now you're wondering why the skies are being filled with heavy metals, why the bees are dying from Alzheimer's disease. Well, look at the amount that's in there now, 9,360 parts per billion. You got the strontium that's gone up from only 12 parts per billion to 351 parts per billion. You know, all this stuff is fire accelerants. Like I said, it's just like what's in chaff, in the naval chaff. You see sometimes the meteorologists will show you something on the radar, and they'll say, oh yeah, that's small, you know, aircraft targets spread a cloud of small, thin pieces of aluminum, metallicized gas, man, I can't talk, glass, fiber, or plastic. That's why we have all these tons of microplastics in our lungs, in our bodies, in the Morgellons. But here's the guy that used to run the Cy Blue. Both them guys you seen in that clip have spoke at the UN. They do have a YouTube channel and a website. You just go to milesresearch.co. And if you scroll down through his feed, he shows all the weather modification that he's done. He also talks about the chemtrails, like, why are you guys spraying them toxic things in our skies when we have the technology to steer the atmospheric rivers right in where we want to? He's helped the farmers out, but like I said, he put the fires out in Tasmania in a short amount of time. I'm trying to get down to where he shows the tweet on that. And, you know, he talks about the bunker fuel operations out off the coast. He knows the weather modification companies that do the electromagnetics, the cloud ionization. They know that these particulates are poisonous. They know that it's killing everything. So right here, back in February 14th, here's an example of the material difference delivered through weather moderation in support of firefighting in Tasmania. So you can see the drought monitor. This was the forecast of rain for Tasmania during the fire. This was on the 31st of January 2019. This was the 8-day total rainfall after he did the electromagnetics. Look at the rainfall they got in February 8th. So just 7 days later, the forecast was for no rain, and look at all the rain he brought in to put the fires out. So now you have to ask yourself, why are they not putting the fires out in Australia? Well, it's multifaceted. It's to bring in the smart cities. It's bring in the high-speed rail. You also have another company that uses a similar technique to steer the atmospheric rivers. This is called the Weather Generator Project out of the United Arab Emirates. Enhancing rain, cleaning air pollution, destroying sandstorms and fog. So these guys actually document everything they do. They got a YouTube channel. They show everything they do. And like they document it, man. Project Green Desert in the Middle East. You know, they show how they steer these atmospheric rivers and the moisture. They also can disintegrate cyclones. They disintegrated 2 cyclones back on October 29th. And in fact, after they shut the cyclones off, they had to hurry up and shut off the Dubai generator. It was forcefully shut down from overworking it. So all this stuff is being done, and most people don't believe it, don't want to look into it. They don't want to listen past their the lies of the mainstream media. I mean, look at these fires that are going on down here in Australia. I mean, you got aerosols being deployed, so they're still spraying the accelerants. You can see the microwave clouds, so they're using the frequencies. And look at the color of the smoke, man. These fires are burning so hot that they're creating their own weather. You can see the aerosols being deployed, the accelerants. I mean, they're burning this whole area out, and they've started new fires since yesterday. Look at the dark gray smoke. What are they burning out here? You could also look and see that all these fires are in the high-speed rail path. Tons of aerosols, tons of frequencies from the technology. There's also bunker fuel operations out here off the coast, and tons of aerosols. So it's going on everywhere. But we'll jump back into the maps here in a little bit. Let's go ahead and get back through a couple of these articles. Coming out of Activist Post, multiple deaths among UK ambulance workers. Could the 5G enabled smart ambulances be playing a role? Well, we just reported on the electrical workers that work on the 5G, that works on the cell phone towers, how the suicide rate has gone up hundreds of times from them working on this 5G stuff. So to say this couldn't be happening, it damn sure could be happening. We've had unauthorized air emissions in Texas more than doubled in 2018, environmental group says. Most of this was from the explosions that happened. Hey, thanks out there, Fady Debs. Hey, much love. Nice help there. Too late to leave. Firefighters issue emergency warnings near Sydney. Urge residents to seek solid structures. 2 are killed on the major highways closed. National bushfire crisis continues. You know, we reported on how before the fire season started, they cut the volunteer firefighters by 75%. You know, this is a ecological disaster down here. You know, they're trying to cool the planet with all this geoengineering. They're trying to mimic volcanoes. Well, they got this going on. I mean, you take this year alone at all the massive volcanoes that went off 50, 60,000 foot, all the fires that had gone on worldwide, all the volcanoes, all the chemtrails, all the bunker fuel, man. They're trying to send us into a rapid ice age, like the day after tomorrow scenario. You know, there should be tons of countries flying down here, helping them get these fires out. This should be a worldwide, you know, let's help these people out. Let's get the fires out. But they're not. They won't accept the help because it's burning on purpose. I've showed the maps of the Inner Bering Railroad, how it's following this exact fire path. You also have the mega cities that are going to be built in these very same areas. These are intentional. These are land grabs. A lot of the pictures they show, you'll see these structures are burnt down, but the woods aren't burned down. You'll see fresh grass, and you know, the trees aren't even scorched, but yet all the structures are gone. Just the same thing we seen in Paradise, California this year, or last year, whatever that was. Same technique. They're using it everywhere. Outrage is hundreds of prisoners at the Lithgow jail are kept locked in their cells as a huge bushfire rages just 50 meters away while nearby residents are evacuated to safety. This just came out a couple hours ago. Prison officials have sparked outrage after keeping inmates locked inside their cells despite the huge bushfire, excuse me, there, burning just 50 meters away. So here's from the prison, you know, and the fire service, let's see here. And, you know, the spokesperson of the corrective services told the Daily Mail Australia there was no chance of the prison catching on fire. I call BS it could. We've seen how these fires burn, and look, it's surrounded by forest. You know, to say that it can't burn, I don't believe that for one bit. You know, I figure if that thing caught on fire, they wouldn't have cared. That's your depopulation. And here we got coming out. Yes, oh, this come out today. Climate change could make us dumber. Literally. You know, this is just more stuff to scare you. Some might argue that mankind's gradual destruction of the planet is proof that we're not the smartest species. But how smart can we really be if a species refuse to correct our wrongs in the most dramatic way possible? New research shows that human-caused climate crisis worsens. One of the symptoms of a sick planet may be dumber and dumber humans. The new research paper by a team of scientists out of Colorado, the gradual rise of CO2 levels in Earth's atmosphere could cause cognitive decline in humans as a whole. You know, bullshit. What about the GMO foods? What about the total microwave and radiation that we're being inundated with? The total destruction of our DNA. The franken foods that they're trying to push on us. This is just a BS article to keep trying to pull off their BS climate crisis. They're the ones that they have their hands on the controls. And here's a perfect example of this. Let's see.
Your program.
You've been doing this subject and across this subject of what has been inaccurate historic weather recordings for a long, long time, haven't you?
Back since about 2011, I became particularly interested in the issue, yeah.
What has been done to recorded temperatures in recent years that you think is not on?
So there's several problems. There's problems with how the equipment that's currently used is calibrated. So not a lot of people realise that now they're using electronic probes rather than mercury thermometers. And the electronic probes are not necessarily calibrated to record as the mercury thermometers did. So for example, in Mildura,
So right here, here's an actual, you know, mainstream channel coming out saying that they're making the present hot temperatures seem hotter by using cooler temperatures in the past. It's a head fake. You know, normally the mainstream media is what makes you dumb, but you know, sometimes you get a clip out of these guys when, you know, they're kind of forced to say the truth. So right here they are exposing that the climate scientists that are reporting the temperatures have actually used ineffective digital thermometers to make it seem hotter because they weren't calibrated. See, it's all a head fake. Now you got the Indian anti-satellite test proves early test for space fence. So they got the space fence set up down at the Atoll Islands. You know, they also have tons of weather engineering programs. They start all these typhoons from down here at the Atoll Islands. Earlier, a few months ago, they just sent an ICBM there from California. Not with a warhead on it, but, you know, a lot of things go off down here in these islands that we don't know about. So here's our space fence, one of them. They want to build another one down in Australia. And here's how they're going to hide what's really going on. This is just the start of it. Goodbye to the tox map and environmental right to know. So there was this application that was out, and they just took it down on December 16th. This was a environmental mapping tool known as ToxMap. Ever so quietly, the door will close on what has arguably become the most accessible, user-friendly porthole created by the federal government for letting Americans know about the toxic lurkings next door. You know, these are some of the toxic hazards that are going on. You know, toxic releases. You know, if a nuclear facility is leaking or some kind of dangerous gas or train derailment, well, now you're not going to know. So now you're not going to know where this stuff is going. So we're going to have to find other ways to tap into these and try to get the information. You know, we're going to start seeing this more and more. They're going to start blocking stuff that we use to find out the truth. And we'll just see how that goes, man. Just more news how the bushfire shut down major highway linking Sydney to Canberra. With a fresh state of emergency declared, motorists have been advised to avoid traveling this weekend. You know, that's the thing, these fires, man, they'll tell you to shelter in place. Why? So you could burn up? So you could burn up in your car like they did the people in Paradise? You know, anytime they tell you to shelter in place, that means get the heck out of there. Never. It's always the opposite of what they say. Now here you go, coming out of the World Health Organization Immunization Agenda 2030. A global strategy to leave no one behind. You know, forcible vaccinations. They're going to keep pushing this stuff. We just talked about all the Ebola stuff yesterday and the day before, how they had the planned Ebola stuff and how they just come out with the vaccine for it. So people are going to be walking around with Ebola. Whoever takes this vaccine, they're going to be carriers of the Ebola. Problem, reaction, solution. They have it all. And this is something that we could see sometime. Russia's sovereign internet test will cut off the entire country from the web on Monday. Hey, thanks out there, Wilford. So on Monday, a key initiative undertaken by the Russian government over the past year to establish sovereign internet will face a major test. That's when the country, and the information says, will be intentionally disconnected from the World Wide Web, according to the Russia's communications ministry. Russia aims to ready its own web to both service a global internet shutdown and defend against a foreign cyber attacks intrusion of its infrastructure. So essentially it means Russian internet traffic will be routed to exchange points approved by the Federal Service for Supervision of Communications, Information, Technology, and Mass Media, Russia's federal executive body responsible for censorship in the media and telecommunications. These hubs will filter traffic in such a way that data sent between Russian internet users should work seamlessly, rejecting any communication with foreign computers. See, they're getting ready to block, you know, all they got to do is cut a couple of the fiber optic cables underground and the whole United States would be without internet. Now, I don't know about this article here. I haven't even looked at it, but a meteorite mysteriously moves by itself, scaring the museum staff. Now, I haven't watched this, so I haven't seen it move. In fact, it looks like it's reloaded a different video. I'll just put this link in the description. I'm not going to go over that. Now, if you live over in Pennsylvania, They just raised the turnpike price up to $53.50 to cross the Pennsylvania Turnpike, man. This is robbery. Not only that, they set up cameras along the route to give you tickets for speeding. So, I mean, that's just ridiculous. We pay taxes. Our taxes should pay for the roads. You shouldn't have to pay these stupid toll roads and turnpikes. This is all BS. This is just another way to rob the people for something they've already been paid for. So we got these, wow, it's like not loaded now. Let me reload that real quick. All right, so we got these elusive red sprites spotted lighting up the sky in Oklahoma. And if it ever shows the picture here, you know, we've been talking about a lot of this stuff that's going on, and a lot of this stuff has things to do with the next res, things to do with the wind farms. And I just reported yesterday how these wind farms are producing lightning. And that's what these sprites are coming from. And apparently it's not going to load. You know, they don't tell you what they are. They just say it's a phenomenon. What looks like Christmas lights magically hanging in the sky is actually high altitude optical phenomena. What it is the electromagnetic currents and pulses coming off the wind farms. That's what it is. So let's just take a look at some of the precipitation analysis here for the next couple days. This is the next 6 hours worth of rain. We know we got a lot of rain coming in the south. Let's go ahead and put it on the 24-hour precipitation. And we can see right there parts of Oregon, Washington, parts of just a little part of California there is getting ready to get inundated, southern Texas. And here we go across Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama. Let's go into the 72-hour forecast. Look at the moisture up there in Washington and Oregon. So Europe, you know, 5 to 7 inch amounts of rain or snow. And, you know, Texas getting pretty good. Let's go over to the 168-hour forecast here. Here's the next couple of weeks worth of rain. So it looks like they moved that rain up more. There should have been a pretty big storm. We'll check the GFS model. Should have been a pretty big storm to hit Florida. In fact, let's go ahead and go look over there. Let me get it on that. Now tomorrow we'll go into the 16-day forecast. So we get this back where we should be here. So here's that intense rain bomb. That's a rain bomb. Here's the atmospheric river coming up. And this is the southern part of the atmospheric river. So really the GFS model is still showing a heavy rain, flooding rain, possible severe weather down here in Florida. And now, you know, you got added in there parts of Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia, South Carolina. I mean, these are big amounts of moisture right here. Hey, thanks, Liz Marie. And if I missed somebody out there, sorry about that. So look at that. Georgia is going to get smacked down. South Carolina, you're getting smacked down. So this low pressure really didn't form quick. So it's a little bit, it's not going to all hit Florida now. Now it's going to hit several areas. And then this baby is going to start spinning, wrapping up, and head right. Look, it's going south. It's actually going to go down and around the Bahamas and maybe recycle that same storm. So that's definitely changed from the last forecast models. And like I said, we'll get into all this tomorrow. when we do the 16-day forecast, we get some pretty big events that looks like coming up. I guess while we're here, though, let's go ahead and check the just the temperatures, see what kind of temperatures we have coming in here. See if we got any big kind of Arctic blast coming in or anything. We just hit play on that. So it looks like nothing here in short term. So actually it's looking pretty mild for most of the country, for most of the United States. And we're starting to get an Arctic blast there towards December 30th. Super cold up in Quebec and all them places. So, all right, we're all good pretty much on that for the next couple weeks. We also have another cyclone headed for the Philippines. The cyclone's going to hit at a Category 1. Then it's going to go over land and turn into a Category 2. And go up, probably hit China or North Korea or somewhere around there. So we'll look at this tomorrow too. Here's the mimic. So see that they've tapped into the atmospheric river with this storm. Produced from the Atoll Islands. Just kind of checking a few things here. All right. Probably don't need that. Probably done with that. We're probably done with the atmospheric river. Probably done with that. Oh, if you want weather control on your farm, you could buy some of these. The SenseCap, narrowband communication, parametric setting agent, built-in provisional protocol, super low power, 3-year battery life. You can get all kinds of weather controls for your farm. You know, we've seen them antennas that you can rent, the cloud ionizers. Let's see if I got that link. I may not have it. Yeah, I don't think I got it here. Oh, this was the this is the Idaho Power Company, and they're harvesting the storms. If you live in Idaho, did you know the power company does weather control? Do you know they use injections of silver iodide from the ground-based towers, flares, modified aircraft to coax the winter storm to produce more snow? Well, they do. Idaho Power can make it snow, increasing water reservoirs. So yeah, man, this is going on in every state, man. People don't even know. You just gotta type in your state, try typing in the weather modification or cloud seeding or harvesting the storm, and you can find them. Anyways, get out of that, get out of that. Let's go ahead and jump into the worldview map. All right, let's go ahead and go look out here and see if we have any kind of bunker fuel. Look, the maps are loaded really good today. They're actually loaded up to date. Look, we got a little vortex starting to spin up down here in the fire zones in Australia. I probably don't have all 3 layers from today. Yeah, that one's not going to load. Try that one. Yeah, them 2 layers are behind, but look at that cloud of crap. Got weather engineering going on over New Zealand. Let's just go ahead and start up here, though. I want to look, see if I see any kind of bunker fuel operations. And I can already see them over here. So they've moved a little bit closer to the coast and down south. We'll be able to see these much better on the ram slider. All right, can't really see a whole lot. Let's just go over here where they're steering the atmospheric river. This is where all the aerosols have been deployed for the last 2 weeks. This is where all the bunker fuel is being sucked up to. And you can still see that they're spraying tons of aerosols in here. Let me try to get this and find the right layer to try to pull some of this out. If not, we'll just jump over on the other radars and stuff. So we can definitely see the spraying operation starts down here in the Bajas. See, they're trying to pull the tropical moisture up, so they have to spray way down south to get these nanobots into the sky so they can start steering them with their NEXRADs. So California's getting completely bombarded, so is Arizona, Utah, Wyoming, all of California, Oregon. We got a new spraying operation over here in Nebraska. It's pretty light, but spraying nevertheless. Pretty clear. It looks like you got a little bit of a segmented spraying going on over Lake Michigan. Just light spraying going on up here. Where's all the heavy spraying? Down here in the Gulf of Mexico. Over Florida. Everywhere the rain's going to go. You can follow all the spray. It's all, you know, wherever they want it to rain, that's where the sprays are going to be. So, you know, always out in front. Sometimes they seed it from behind. Mainly they seed it from the front. We have a bunker fuel ship right there, putting out tons of particulates. Look at that. You can see it coming right there, man. That's a big flume. This is a bunker fuel ship flume right there. Now, I could see it right off the get-go. That was a bunker fuel ship. So all that toxic air is going right over Nova Scotia. We've seen a bunker fuel ship up here in Lake Superior the other day. So the aerosols are being deployed. Just kind of looking around here. They're still steering that storm up into Uruguay. A little bit of things going on down here in Argentina. Just like always, they get sprayed pretty much on a daily basis. Let's just kind of go up through Africa. Tons of weather manipulation going on over the desert. All the storms that were seeded have already pretty much gone over. Look, Algeria's getting waxed. New spraying operation over the Mediterranean Sea on top of the spraying operation they just had. And look, big operation starting up right here in Portugal, off the coast of Portugal. You know, these are some long liners. Look, there was their target. There's the X to start the spraying. Perfect example of the weather control happened earlier this year out here in Portugal. Out here in Portugal, the NEXRAD systems went down for a couple weeks, and during that time the cloud seeding planes couldn't fly. I had on the ground reports. The NEXRADs were down. They told me none of the aircraft could fly because of the NEXRADs were down, so they couldn't do any kind of cloud seeding operations. This place was perfectly sunny for the whole time the NEXRADs were shut off. As soon as they turned them on, the cloud seeding operation started back up. Complete whiteout. Then the storms come in. And we know Iceland's been getting blasted. We can't see up there. Right now we will. Later, when it starts getting spring, then it'll start getting lighter And we'll be able to see Ireland's been getting hammered. And they're still getting moisture pulled in by the aerosols. It's not loading up very clear. So Ireland's getting smacked down. So the UK, no aerosols right now, but you will be getting them tomorrow because they're pulling these systems over. In fact, I'm surprised there's not more spraying operations over here in France. So actually this is really cleared up on this part because the first storms they seeded have already come through. So now it'll be a new operation. We'll see tomorrow if this all picks up out here. You got a weird little operation right here off of Italy. Just a small target area. Really spraying out here in Algeria, Libya. The big weather controllers out here off of Dubai, looks like they've turned their weather generators off. We got a little bit of dust storms coming out. Over here in China, man, we got some toxic air. I mean, look at the color of this air. I mean, this is pretty disgusting looking. And if I remember right, when I was over here earlier, they got tons of sprayers going on. There was a real good one and I could see real good. Well, here's Shandong. You can see the X's. So even though the air quality is so bad over here, it's horrendous looking. They're still spraying aerosols into the sky, trapping this stuff in. So nasty air. Big time. We got spraying operations over South Korea. And looks like Japan's finally getting sprayed. They went almost 2 weeks without any aerosols. Well, now they got them going now, and they're thick. They're big, thick, nasty aerosols being deployed along with all the crappy air coming out of India and China. So look at that. Yeah, see, super spraying right to the south. So they're getting ready to try to pull this atmospheric river up towards Japan. Look, they're spraying way out here. So they're getting sprayed, and then we can go down and look at that storm that's going to turn into a cyclone headed for the Philippines. They're already getting hit with the system right now. Of course, we'll be seeing the aerosols over in this area because when they pull the storm, you follow the aerosols, and that's where they're steering it. They got some spraying there off the coast of Malaysia. Also, Madagascar is going to get hit with another storm. The storm's going to be headed towards Madagascar, so they're going to get flooded again. And of course, we got everything that's going on down here in Australia with the man-made fires, the aerosols. Look at the grid action going on. Probably look for new fires to spark up over here. I mean, look, I still haven't figured out what these are that are burning over here. But it's some toxic smoke, man. I mean, it's just toxic. Been burning off and on for weeks. Over here, these fires have been going for months. See, it looks like they were actually dwindling down a little bit. You know, so the fires look like they were starting to wind down a little bit. And then a few aerosols come over. And then they just sparked right back up. And then you got this. I mean, what is in this smoke? This is insane. And you have a guy that lives down here that could put these fires out. Why are they not calling him? And these fires are burning so hot they're creating thunderstorms, which will be producing more lightning, which will be producing more fires. We've already seen how the last time it rained, it actually made the fires worse. So the rainforest of Australia are burning. Got some fires north of Brisbane. I guess I could have just put the fire layer on here. You have an ionospheric heater over on this side. We're constantly seeing the microwave clouds. More fires sparking up over here. There will be no forest left. And here's part of the responsible guys right here dropping the aerosols, spraying the accelerant. So we can almost look, there's probably going to be some fires starting north of Melbourne. That's where they're laying the aerosols. I just want to go check the RAM slider real quick. Yeah, if you really wanted to stop climate change, all you would have to do is ground all the aircraft and all the ships for like 2 weeks. The whole earth would clear up. 2 weeks, you could clear the earth up. All the toxic air would escape. It wouldn't be trapped in with these man-made cloud blankets. But will they do it? Hell no, they won't do it. All right, wanted to go look at this. Want to go look at the fires with this. And I want to put this on about every 30 minutes. We'll just see what's going on here. So it might take this just a second to load. Hey, we gotta do this, man. People need to be awake, man, because everything is slowly. Freedoms are being took away. Your right to protect yourself is being took away. Your right to water is being took away. You never even really own property. If you don't pay your property taxes, they auction your house off. It's just ridiculous. So wow, look how that thing is just spinning up. That's a fire created low pressure. So that is pretty insane right there. Hey, thanks out there, Baby Yoda. Thanks for the support out there. That helps us, you know, keep getting these programs working and try to get the site going and all that stuff. So yeah, we got a mega stuff. I want to go up and check the Arctic and the Antarctic real quick, just to see if we see any kind of plasma. And I see it already. The purple is the plasma, and then these lightning looking bolts are plasma lightning. Now I had to stop this because it's going too fast. So we got one little blast right there. Now I'd have to look to make sure these aren't auroras because they look pretty close to the same. So yeah, it's not coming. Let me put this on like every 51 minutes, see what that looks like. Yeah, they're kind of hiding that bolt right there. All right, let's check Antarctica. That's the northern. Let's check the southern hemisphere in the fire zone area. I wonder if they ever found that the C-130 that went down. I haven't looked. I should have looked. Yep, look at the bunker fuel operations out here off the coast of Australia. And that's undeniable, man. That's the most toxic emissions on the planet. Tons of sulfur being deployed. Tons of fire accelerants and toxic air. I knew we would see them down there, and there they are. You know, if you wanted to really see if the sea ice is melting, you could use this map right here and see it for yourself. At least they're not hiding this yet, but they could eventually. All right, I want to check one more thing, then we'll probably call this a show. I want to go check to see if they're doing any kind of heating up in the ionosphere. So right here we're looking at the polar vortex winds, but what I want to do is put this on the temperatures. Turn the winds off. So it looks like they're actually trying to push the super cold air back over towards Europe. So let's see if I can fast forward this a few days here. So look, that cold air is going over towards Europe. There's a rapid heating event going on right over Russia, China area. And they're going to start heating it. Look, so here in a few days, they're going to start pushing the polar vortex air mass back over the United States. So right after Christmas, they're going to heat it up from this side. See, they were heating it up from over here. Now they're going to heat it from here, and that's going to push that super cold air right over the United States. Right now it's parked over Greenland and over like Sweden area, so they're probably getting blasted with super cold. The rapid heating event's still going on in the Antarctica. Let's go ahead and check our wave heights here. We got some pretty good wave anomalies. Look at this. Look at Portugal. They're getting hit with some 33-foot waves, 29-foot waves. Iceland, 31-foot waves. The Aleutian Island chain, big wave anomaly. 36-foot waves down here south of New Zealand, south of Australia. Let me just go forward with this just to see. Wow, look at there. Look at the Aleutian Island chain, man. That's some monster waves. 44-foot waves. Let's go up another day. Back down to 32-foot waves. And then another wave anomaly starts up. There's our cyclone that's going to be forming. Let's go ahead and check the oh, I forgot to look at the sea surface temperatures and the anomalies. So look at the heat anomaly out here. Right there is where the right there is where that cyclone is going to be forming. Or actually, it should be forming up here. I don't know. We'll see. But man, there's some hot water right there around Australia. Hey, thanks out there, Cynthia. Much love. Hey, better late than never. Let's go ahead and check the anomalies. Wow, what's this heat anomaly down here by New Zealand? Let me go back a couple days. Look at that heat anomaly. You don't think they're doing something down there? Look at that rapid heat event right there. That is insane. That's so fast. That happens so fast. So we got a mega heat anomaly going off the coast of New Zealand. That's bigger than the blob out in the Pacific. Look, the blob is into nothing. Let me fast forward that, see if, yeah, so the blob has gone down to nothing. But wow, do we got a anomaly here. Let me see the sea surface temperatures. So it's actually cold water down here, so who's heating it? Some kind of weather mod is going on right now off the coast of New Zealand. I mean, we're talking a big temperature difference. 8.7 Fahrenheit. Let's go back a day, or till when it dies out. So it jumped from, you know, roughly 3.1 Fahrenheit to 7 to 8.2, 8.7. So something is going on right there, man. I'm gonna have to dig into that. I'm going to see if there's some kind of underwater volcano down there. Something is going on. So here is our carbon monoxide. Quite a bit going on in California here. That's pretty elevated levels. And then over here on the East Coast, man, we're almost looking like China. So this is, if you got a little bit of a headache, this is probably part of it. Let's go look at China and India. You know, they breathe that stuff every day. Let's go ahead and check the CO2. This is the carbon dioxide. Got high amounts off the coast. It's actually really kind of crappy right now as far as that stuff. And here's the sulfur. And you can see the long straight lines. That's the cargo ships. That's the bunker fuel ships deploying the sulfur. And we'll go ahead and check the PM 2.5. So we're still looking pretty bad up there in the Alberta area. We can see where the volcano's going off up here. Definitely picked up. You know, what's going on here in California? I don't know why it'd be so high right there in that spot. I mean, you know, that's fracking. Could be fracking. I mean, even the volcano don't look bad down here in Mexico compared to them spots. So this is the PM 2.5 carcinogens. See down here in Australia, they're just inundated. And right there is where our heat anomaly is, man. I'm going to figure out what that is. Let me go ahead and check the mean sea level pressures. That's a high pressure. There's no clouds down there, so it could be heating up from the sun. I'm just kind of looking at the wind power density. All right, just wanted to look at that. So that's crazy, man. Look at all the humidity everywhere but in Australia. Like, they're burning the humidity out of the air from the fires. So there's moisture everywhere but Australia. Australia is the driest place on earth right now. It's drier than the Sahara Desert. The air is so dry. That's, you know, it's almost off the chart. That's pretty weird, man. Okay. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap this show up. Anyway, guys, much love. Thanks for sharing this out. Methane over Ohio. Here, I could look real quick. Put it on the, well, I don't have methane. I got carbon monoxide. And yeah, there's a lot of that. Yeah, we'd have to go to the Canadian model to get the methane, which I can't remember the link. I got it somewhere. I'll try to bring that link up tomorrow, and I'll keep it at our disposal, because you can check the methane. You can check man, there's so many things you can check that you can't do with this program right here. Anyway, guys, much love. We'll catch you tomorrow for the 16-day forecast. Everybody have a good Christmas out there, and we'll see you tomorrow, God willing. Armor up, no fear, eyes to the skies, and try to show people the lies, man. Here we go. Let me see if this will work.
Thank you.